I'm going to demonstrate from this video how to create a booking system using a one-to-many relationship for a simple room booking system between two dates and the different rooms to check that they're booking. And I'm going to talk through the code, the design and how you would set this up. So I'm going to start with my actual database system, and you can see I have my reservations and then I have the one-to-many. So reservation 0001 has two rooms, so the one-to-many is the reservation 001 and the two rooms in it. I'm going to then see now that I have the actual tables on my Microsoft Access database system. So I'm connected now to the SQL server and I'm reading off the tables on the SQL for my local database. The first thing I want to do is I want to sort of join the different tables so that I can get the room number and I can get the room number and I can get the date from and date to. So the query will basically be looking to see if there's rooms booked between certain dates, and if I look at the data you can actually see for the reservation 0001 I have between the dates the 20th of December to the 23rd of December I have rooms 1, 2 and 3 are booked. Again you'll see then, and we're going back to the actual algorithm where that we took the A, B, C and D, the from, the to, input and the from and to on the database. So this is the from and to on the database, and then we have the from and to in the input. So you'll see reservation 1, them two dates and 1, 2 and 3 are booked. If I look at another dates, reservation 3, 2 and 4 are booked. But again look at the dates that go before it, so the 23rd to 26th, that's reservation 002. You can see that nearly all 6 of my rooms are booked between them dates. So I'm going to go and I'm going to run. You can see the only in that date around the 26th, the only room that's free is room 3. So I'm going to go and test this on the form. Then we're going to look at dates that aren't booked. So we can see we're booked right up till the 6th of January. So if I book after the 6th of January, the booking should be added to the table and will appear in the SQL server database. So I'm going to go back to my query. So my query has joined up. I've also put in the customer table and I've added the customer details, and again these can all be used then for your reporting or your receipt at the end up if you're doing a receipt. So to start off with, I'm going to look at I'm not going to save my reservations, I have that already created, so it's just a query and I've joined up the different tables. So I'm going to log in first of all, and my login system brings through the staff ID and the person's name, and this is disabled so that it can't actually change anything. I'm going to go to the new booking, and the first thing you'll see is the staff ID has been carried across into the new booking form, and I'm going to show you how that's done. I'm going to close out again, and I'm going to log out, and I'm going to bring up my actual reservations, and I'm going to look the room ID and the dates from. So they're the important things. So if I look at 26th, you can see the 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 4, 5 and 6 have been booked. So if I booked any date round the 26th, all of them rooms should be booked, bar room number 3. So I'm going to log in again, and this time I'm going to continue on with a new booking. Staff ID has been carried across, and I'm going to look at the 25th. I'm going to book for 3 nights and choose my customer ID, and I'm going to choose the number of rooms. So I'm going to book 2 rooms. So if I book 2 and 4 and I submit, you'll see that these 2 rooms have been booked, and say I put in 3, you'll see that only 4 has been booked. So how does that system know? Put in 5, you'll see that 5 is already booked. So how does the system know that these are already booked and reading off the system? So we'll look at the actual booking. So you'll see 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4, 5 and 6, and 3 is the only one that hasn't been booked. If I look right down to the end, safe bet would be that if I picked 2 or 3 bookings after the 6th of January, they should add to the system. So if we log in, and this time I'm going to book after the 6th of January. So I'm going to book, say, the 8th of January, 3 nights. I'm going to choose customer ID, number of rooms, and I'm going to book 1, 2 and 3. And the way this booking will look is it'll actually check the dates are free and the rooms are free, and it'll book the process. Booking has been processed and the reference is actually there. If I go back to the tables, you'll see that reservation's been in, the date from and the date to, and the reservation rooms are also there, the date from, and so 1, 2 and 3 have been booked for the dates 8th of January, 9th and the 10th of January. If I go back to my SQL Server and execute, this is also reflected in the server database. So you'll see the ID, the reservation ID, and you'll see it's the same for the intermediary table, the many table, which says there's rooms 1, 2 and 3 are booked. If I go back now and try and book for the 8th of January, and I'm going to book this time the 8th of January and the 9th of January even. 9th of January for 2 nights, and I'm going to book 2 rooms this time, 1 and 2. You'll see that these both are booked. 2 and 3 are both booked. What if I do 4 and 5? And you'll see that that's allowed rooms 4 and 5 for these dates to be booked. Again, going back to my reservations, you'll see that that has worked. This allowed the reservation for them 2 dates, and again it's allowed the reservation rooms because 1, 2 and 3 are already booked, 4 and 5 aren't. Back to my SQL Server database, and the new entry is there, and the rooms 3, 4 and 5 are 4 and 5 because 1, 2 and 3 have been booked in the reservation 59. So how's this all done? So again, I showed you first of all the query, and I'm going to use the query to read for my record set to calculate the date from, date to, and if the room has been booked between these 2 dates. So onto my code, and the big part of my code is actually I'm going to start off actually with the new booking. So in my dashboard I have the staff ID is carried across from the login, so I have basically in the new booking button event I've got two pieces of code, and the first piece of code is a do command, which opens the form FRM booking. So it opens the booking form, and within the booking form it then adds the staff ID from this form into the staff ID that's in the form booking. So forms, the form booking and the text box staff ID will take the value of this staff ID, so it's easily carried across. If I look at this here, it's staff ID, txt staff ID, so me.txt staff ID will take that value and carry that across to the text box staff ID that I have in the booking form. If I go to my booking form, you'll see the first one is staff ID. So this has been named staff ID, so that's how that carries that staff ID across to the booking form. And then have a text box txt date from. I have a number of nights, and I have a little calculation after the number of nights, which basically takes the date from date to on the form is equal to date from plus the number of nights minus 1, because you're booking for nights, you're inclusive of the date from. I come there, so then that'll basically create my date 2 from that before update. So when this here updates, you enter in the number of nights, it'll automatically calculate the date 2 for you. The other wee bit of code I have then is this little procedure to basically show the room numbers for the amount of rooms. So I have named each of the rooms R1, R2, R3, R4, R5 and R6. So the little text boxes are all simple R1 down to R6. I've also set them till not visible, so visible is no for each of them text boxes. They're not visible, so when the form loads, these text boxes don't appear. When they appear is when I have a before update procedure that will basically calculate how many rooms you're looking, and then it'll show the controls. And how to do that is I've got two variables. I have get the number of rooms, which is going to take the value of the number of rooms from the actual text box, and then I'm going to have a counts or, which is going to loop through the number of rooms until it gets till the actual number that you've put in. So if you put in 3, when the count has went round to 3, it'll basically stop the loop. So you'll see I've set the count or CNTR equal to 0, so it starts off at 0, and the first thing it does using a do until loop, or you can use a for next, it's saying that when this here becomes say 3, if you've put in number of rooms 3, when it comes to 3, it'll basically stop the loop and exit. And what happens is you start off with a little calculation which basically adds 1 to that variable. So count r becomes equals count r plus 1. So first time that that loops, count r will become 1. What it'll do then is take a look at the controls. So the form is me, the controls, and because we're using, if we go back, the value R1, R2, R3, R4, R5, R6, the number is just different. So the actual string of the name is R, which I've put here in the text, and then I've used and whatever this count R is. So the first time this will go round, it'll go count R is 1, so this will be R1 dot visible equals true. If you have 2 rooms, R2, so it'll go round again, R2 dot visible equals true, R3 dot visible, and so on. So that is how I create the system to loop through and show the text boxes. I'm not going to save, I'm going to just show you that